Well, hello and welcome to Trick or Treat. My name is Mike Mayone and I am your host. And if you are watching this, you're probably watching it on YouTube because, we haven't had any kind of routine schedule ever since we've started doing live shows again. The stream shows have just gotten all out of whack. So usually it's at 7, it's on Tuesdays, but now it's 8 and it's on Thursday. Who knows when the next one's going to be? Tonight we have really great guests, so I know you're going to enjoy it. You're going to meet Christian and Katalina. Oh, what a fantastic set of mentalists they are! You're really going to enjoy meeting them. They're terrific, really. They are terrific, and we had such a great chat the other night. It's a recorded interview. I like to do them live generally, but again, we just got carried away. I was happy to do a show at the Mohegan Sun this past weekend, so that meant I really couldn't spend much time getting ready. You probably, if you're watching Trick or Treat, since the last time, I probably didn't have a beard the last time we did the show, or it was just started. Well, what's this all about? I look so old, yeah. But I play Santa Claus. And so I will be playing Santa this season, and I wanted to have a real beard, and so it will be a real beard, a short beard, but a real beard. Do you remember the movie? You must remember the movie, Miracle on 34th Street. He didn't have one of those big beards. No, he had a short, kind of well-kept short beard. And so I will fancy myself the Santa from that movie. A great movie. Hey, we're going to start the show as we do every time we do a trick or treat with a little fact or fake news.
Fact or fake news, fact or fake news, fact or fake news.
And the fact or fake news statement this week always relates to our guests in some way, is this. Mentalism is a performing art in which its practitioners, known as mentalists, appear to demonstrate highly developed mental or intuitive abilities. Performances may appear to include hypnosis, telepathy, clairvoyance, divination, precognition, psychokinesis, mediumship, mind control, memory feats, deduction, and rapid mathematics. All of those? Oh, is that fact or is that fake news? Well, if you think you know, well, then write it in the comments and maybe you will win this super medal. Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Yes, yes, yes. You could win that super medal. Just write it in the comments. I'll let you know at the end of the show what the real answer is. Hey, what's that? What's that? Oh, it looks like we have a camera up here. No, what is that? Oh, it's a wire. Look at that, Michael. I didn't even notice it. That's terrible. Anyway, okay, now we have a nice clear set again. So we can go on to the next segment of our show, which is one of my favorites. It's the funny part of the show. It's a little wisecrack from our friend Rich Walker.
Hi, Mike. Here's another one of my favorite jokes, and it's a good, quick, short one. A woman goes up to a widow at a wake and says, I have one word for you, plethora. And the widow says, oh, thank you. That means a lot. That's a thinker. My wife goes, nobody gets that one. Do you know what plethora means? A lot.
I think that's the best part. Yes, I knew what plethora was, so I got the joke. And I think most people do. Anyway, hey, if you want to see more Rich Walker, you can see Rich Walker at the website that he shares with Chris Monty. That's themontywalkershow.com. And they do sketch comedy there, and there's some really funny bits there. I hope you'll go and look there. And if you want to be a stand-up comic, well, Rich is one of a team of people who run Stand Up University here on Long Island. And if you think you want to give stand-up comedy a crack, oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. Why don't you see when the next class is? If you go to the website, they'll have a listing and tell you how you can become a comic. Hey, it's a lot of fun. I took the class a couple of times, but it's great fun. It's great fun. Well, I love to cruise the internet for things that people that are, interesting. And this week, well, the holidays are coming. I know usually you don't start thinking about holiday gifts until after Halloween, but you know what? We're going to start early. We have some great holiday gift ideas that you might like. Oh, wow, we found a couple of really great ones. I'm looking forward to this one. This looks like something I have always wanted. A cubed egg. Yes, you can take your hard-boiled eggs. Why have round ones? They're so boring. You can have your hard-boiled egg in the shape of a cube. That's unique. That will really set you apart from everybody else. Breakfast will never be the same. My mom always told me not to drink out of the bottle. Use a glass. For those of us who still like to drink out of the bottle but want to do it in a more classy way, there's this item. Oh, doesn't that look? Yeah, you can drink out of the glass. It's so much classier than drinking directly out of the bottle, don't you think? Hey, you know what my favorite thing is? Oh man, when I have a nice corned beef sandwich, I love to have a nice big juicy pickle. Sometimes I just can't get enough pickles. So maybe I should get pickle flavored toothpaste. Ooh, my mouth is getting, it's just puckering up just from the thought of it. Isn't that great? Sometimes, you want that look that you're flagrantly disregarding the rules, right? But you're safety conscious at the same time. So you're going to go on a bicycle or a motorbike, you have to wear a helmet, right? It's for safety. But you don't want to because you want to look like you're a rebel. You need one of these helmets. Uh-huh. Yes, you make a statement with that. Now, in the summertime, sometimes, do you ever notice that your feet get a little warm? They get sweaty and you kind of, like you need a little more air on your feet? Well, you need one of these. Yes, that's lifts up the blanket just enough so that you can get a little flow of air onto your feet. Isn't that clever? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't quite understand what this gift is. I don't know if it's. Why would you? I haven't figured it out. I have to go back at the website and find out if it's a place where you get pillows made to look like you, or if this guy is just thinks that you want a pillow that looks like him. I don't know. Well, it's not for me. Hey, of all of the these gifts, there's only one that I found that I might actually enjoy having, and it's this one. It's a seat saver. Yes, you've gone to conventions? I know you have. If you're watching this show, you go to conventions and you like to get a good seat up front. Ziggy, I'm talking to you. You want to get a good seat up front, and you got to save that seat. But sometimes they don't want you to save seats. No, they have a policy: no seat saving. So you put one of these on there. You don't have to worry. Nobody's going to take your seat. I like the Dunkin' Donuts one, the coffee cup. That's the one I want. Anyway, so if you're thinking of a gift that's perfect for me, It's that one over there, way up there, the coffee cup. So there you go, some Christmas items that you can probably live without. It's time again for a little magic short. This week's magic short is by me once again. A magic short by Mike My Own. It's my own magic short. Here we go. Do you experience a lot of coincidences? I do. Let me show you what I mean. As you can see, I have 6 cards here and I have a die. Nothing special about this die. I'm going to take one roll. 1. The number 1. Now, interestingly enough, in my wallet, I have a card. 1 card. The card happens to be the 4 of clubs. The same as the card that was on the die. You may be thinking, that's not a coincidence. They're all 4 of clubs. But that's not the case. It's just a coincidence. Well, there you go, a coincidence. Hey, if you are just the slightest bit interested in knowing how that little coincidence was created, well, you should check the next review that comes up on My Own Magic Reviews. That's another YouTube channel, which I hope you'll go to and subscribe. And there I will be reviewing the product that made that little coincidence occur. So, My Own Magic Reviews. Yeah, Google it. Go there, go to the YouTube channel. Well, now it is indeed my pleasure to introduce a fantastic interview we had the other night. Well, they're fantastic. My interviewing skills aren't that great, but it was a fun interview. I enjoyed their company immensely. So I'll give you a little bit of introduction that we do whenever we have guests on Trick or Treat. It's a little video introduction.
No, I'm just saying it's right to show. If we had time and you came up here and you beeped it, it would come up error. Well,
All right, Randall.
say that in your mind.
Okay.
I'm definitely wait, there's no. I think choose the middle number. Is it 829?
It's been called one of the best entertainment shows, not only in the city of Indianapolis, but across the country. The Mind Tripping Show is back.
Well, hello, Christian and Katalina. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Hey, good, Mike. How are you?
We're fantastic and we're happy to be here.
It's so great to see you, and I'm so thrilled to be able to introduce you to some of my friends who haven't had a chance to meet you yet. You guys are a wonderful couple of mentalists that I saw years and years ago, and it was at a SAM convention, and then I didn't see you for a while, and to watch you.
Wait a minute, what is this years and years and years ago? We're not that old.
Years, I think, is the most you could really say.
Okay, 2 years. I'll only do 2 years and years.
It's been 2 years since we've seen him because two
That's
4Fs have
okay,
been canceled.
whatever.
Remember?
All right.
You're okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, so I'll tell you, we stayed kind of under the radar for a great portion of our performing time. Do you hear that?
Yeah. What was that?
That is a car that's far away, but they like to rev their engine every now and then. So we stayed under the radar for many years because I think we're just working on the show. We really didn't go to conventions and that. And then by the time you saw us is when we actually started going to conventions then. So.
Okay. And what have you been doing in the last year? I know over here none of the magicians were able to work. You guys have a show, and I assume it was closed?
We shut it down in March of 2020.
2020.
We thought we didn't know, nobody knew how long this was going to last, what we're going to do. So we said, well, maybe we can try it in the fall. So we came up with a whole social distance COVID show. And then we did try it in the fall, but after a month we had to shut it down again.
No, I think it ran about 2 months. I remember we had quite a few corporate gigs too.
We had corporate gigs in the summer, but the show itself, I think, only ran about 4 weeks, maybe 6. It was a short time.
At least 6
then
weeks.
Remember, then everything got high again. With the
But
numbers.
then, yeah, everything shot back up, and then we shut down again, and then we opened up again when?
April.
In April of this year.
April. Yeah. And are you running now? Are you open now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And people, I mean, they want to get out, especially since the vaccine. They're thankful that they can get the vaccine, and now they're ready to come out and have a good time. So that's been nice. Everybody's been.
Now, no one comes on stage with us, and anyone who comes up to the stage has to wear a mask, and we have everyone social distance in the audience as well.
Do you require them to be vaccinated to come into the theater?
No, because we debated on that, but one, it's too difficult to. I mean, people can. We've already learned people can just fake it, and I think if we put the where we say you have to be masked if you're coming up on stage, we tell them if you get a drink or something, you can obviously take off your mask, but
sure,
you have to be masked during the show. I think that we put enough barriers there. If you're totally against this, you're not going to be there. Although there's still some people who will fight us a little bit, even on our website, everywhere.
Oh, yeah, it's clear. I mean, we have the COVID procedures on our website. And so I think if you're really afraid of getting the virus, obviously you shouldn't come to our show.
No, I was going the other way. For the people who are...
Well, they have to agree that they understand the COVID rules and that they will have to wear a mask during the show.
And we have had to refund some money with people showing up going, oh, I didn't know we had to wear a mask. And we're like,
oh, really?
But you literally can't buy a ticket without checking a box or something.
Yeah, they get all the data. They cannot not claim they've not seen it. So.
It's funny, too. It's not all that hard to wear a mask for a couple of hours. I mean, how long is your show? 2 hours tops, probably?
Hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
So you're right. 2 hours tops, you would sit there in the showroom with a mask.
Yeah, it's not that difficult. I mean, we went to with the family to Hawaii from New York, and I don't remember how many hours that flight was, but we had to wear a mask the entire time, and it really wasn't all that difficult. I kind of was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to be able to do that? But it's really not all that difficult to wear a mask for a couple.
Well, I've also learned when I've talked to people, if you're wearing an N95 or a surgical mask, they're pretty easy. But cloth masks are actually the worst masks. Early on, we tried some cloth, and we're like, these are horrible. But the other masks are much more because you can kind of push them out a little bit. So you got some. It's not kind of what's what I'm looking for here.
Pressed up against your lips.
Yeah.
And your nose. It's a little bit easier to breathe in.
Yeah. They actually, the cloth masks, from what I understand, don't work as well.
That is correct.
They let more of the particles through.
And even with the surgical masks, there's different
particulate numbers. Like you can do a 0.1 or a 0.3, depending upon how large that particle is, which one you wear. So it's for your own level of safety. Whatever you're comfortable with, you can choose.
Right.
Which one you want.
So, I always like to sort of structure my interview around some pictures, and I want to start with some pictures that go back to I guess when you guys first kind of found each other. and you were in the service together. Is that right?
That is correct. I in this particular picture, I was during a promotion where I was promoted to sergeant first class, and there's on both sides of me are my commanders, and I am wet. You might not, so you might be able to tell. And I'm wet because they pour water on you, and they, sometimes eggs, and then the promotion rank
ceremony. Yeah.
has little spikes in it, and that's what keeps it on your clothing. But it has backings. Well, they take the backings off and they slap it into your chest so that you get blood rank, is what they used to call it. I don't know if they still do it
No,
because
they can't do that anymore. That's gone.
because people would get so crazy on these ceremonies. Broken collarbones would happen, and
Because they would come with their fist and like shove the rank into his collarbone right here. So,
but wow, good for me. They still could do that in this picture.
good that you brought up that memory.
I guess it's sort of like a hazing of sorts.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Yes.
kind of like, oh, you made this rank, we're going to make you pay.
Uh-huh.
And I like how thin I look in that too. That's
I know that is.
Yeah, it's sometimes when you look at those old pictures, it gets a little frustrating. Just because an hour later you go look in the mirror and it's just what happened.
what happened.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah.
Look at that.
What a handsome guy.
That's a baby face right there.
I don't even know who that is. That apparently is my son. No, that's a very young picture. Yeah, that I don't even know.
Can you?
I can't tell a lot about it, but it's a young picture of me.
Yeah. Holy cow.
I don't. Yeah.
And you still have a mustache.
Got a crayon, right? So I was in the 82nd.
So you're in the.
So the beret at that time meant you were a paratrooper, so you were jumping out of airplanes.
Oh, cool. Do you still jump?
No. In fact, my body is now feeling all of that pain, saying, "Oh, remember that jump? Oh, here's another jump. Probably don't remember, but let me just. Oh, is it humid outside? Because now there's pain. Because it's not a nice jump, because you're weighted down with equipment and weapons and ammo and all the stuff that you have to have, and then they drop you very low. So it's not like where you watch people and they're just floating down and enjoying no. You drop as low to the ground as possible so you don't get shot by the enemy.
Gotcha.
So you hit pretty hard sometimes.
Yeah. How long were you in the service?
20 years.
20 years. And Katalina, you were in the service as well. And I read somewhere or heard somewhere that you were actually his supervisor for a little while.
I was an officer, so yeah.
For a little while.
For only a little while. That's true, because then I transferred.
For 20 years.
So she was, when I met her, she was a lieutenant. And I had just finished duty in another unit and had arrived at this unit. And we did not get along at all in our first 6 months of working together. Because I came from a special ops unit where things aren't done by the book. And Catalina was a very much by the book person. And it's hard to explain if you're not in the Army. It's a little bit hard to explain the structure. But as a lieutenant, she outranks me forever, because I'm enlisted. So
as a wife, she does as well, I think.
Yeah, still, yeah. So, we had a couple of we butted heads many times, but in the end,
it all worked out.
In the end, it worked out. Yeah.
In the end, it worked out, honey.
It did work out. Worked out quite well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, you got married while you were in the service, yeah?
That is correct. That is correct.
That's one of my favorite pictures. I love that picture.
Yes, that one was great.
Because I'm laughing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're actually coming up in November on our 26th year anniversary.
Yeah. 26 years. Congratulations. 26 years. Wow.
I know, that seems crazy. Holy cow.
Yeah.
It does seem like yesterday, right?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, I assume this is.
Where do you find these pictures? We tried to burn all of these pictures.
This is a fun one. I like that. This is wow. This
so
is
we're still in the Army because we'll get a haircut.
I know.
Oh, okay. You're still in the Army here. Okay, good.
And this is actually a wow.
This was well. Actually, this is a piece that you developed in Germany.
No. Actually, this is a Joe Priscillo piece, and I got that out of what was that? It was a periodical, and I really liked it, and we ran with it, and then I ended up doing it. Yeah, we developed it over
In
the time.
Germany, yeah, when you were with Timo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was very funny because I didn't know who Joe Priscilla was. And then I got to meet him many years later and tell him, oh, you have no idea how much mileage I got out of that trick.
Well, it looks like a fun trick, I'm not familiar with it, but it looks like it's a lot of fun. It looks like you're wearing a lab coat there and a light bulb.
That was not part of his write-up, but what you do is you have four bags. You borrow the person's watch, put it in one of the bags, and you put light bulbs in the other bags, and then you let them pick the bags, and you hammer. His write-up was you hammer the thing, and then we changed it a little bit where we actually stole the watch back out, and then they could pick whatever bag they want to hammer. And of course, the joke is, oh, I accidentally crushed your watch.
Because the final bag contains the light bulb.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then you make their watch appear from some amazing place.
So it's a little bit of a smash and stab without endangering your hand.
Right. Instead, you endanger something valuable of the person.
Of the other person. Yeah. I like it.
One time, we got to the part I remember, and we just said, "Oh man, I'm sorry, I messed up. I broke your watch, but I could get it this time. Do you have something else? How about your glasses?" And he just took off his glasses. Wow, you have a lot of faith, sir.
Now you mentioned Timo, and he's a brilliant performer too. I've seen him a couple of times. He doesn't come to the States all that often, but I did get a chance to see him at a convention.
Oh yeah, he's been spending a lot of time in Asia, but he also started his own show, annual show in Germany, and he just finished a run of like 10 sold out shows.
Yes.
In Stuttgart, so southern Germany. So yeah, he's been doing great.
So I met Timo while I was still in the Army. We were stationed in Stuttgart. Mm-hmm. And we met at Magic Hands. It was the very last Magic Hands convention. And then we got to be friends, and we'd kind of session together. And then we started doing shows together in Germany, some corporate shows. And so now I'll tell you a fun story. That light bulb trick you saw, we went together and we kind of developed it together. And we had this great idea for one. It wasn't even a corporate gig. It was he had created for the community, like a theater gig. And so all of his like magician friends were going to show up and see this. And so he said, we got to fool them. And so he came up with an idea of when we steal the watch out of the bag that we talked about earlier. The final joke was when we got down to the last two bags. Now I'm palming the watch, and he's been doing the smashing of the bags. As I walk off, I said, wait a minute, Timo, let's make sure we've got to have more confidence. So I walk off, and I put the watch in between two pillows that we had taped together. And and because it was a weird theater, it was on the second floor, I threw it out the window backstage.
And I was down there catching it. So I caught the bag with the watch in it. I quickly grabbed the watch out. I put it into this large clock. So I put it into the face of the clock, and then I had to sneak back upstairs to the back of the theater and hang that clock on the wall.
Yeah.
So that was the plan. And this was really done because there were German magicians in the audience.
So I walked back out on stage with a sledgehammer, and that's the humor. And then, so then Timo tells me there's one to break, so I smash it, and then of course comes the laughter with when we open the final bag and the light bulb. And so we're stalling a little bit because Katalina has to.
So that theater is packed, and there are people standing on the wall.
It was sold out.
Shoulder to shoulder, where I have to hang up the clock. And so I'm standing there. I've got the clock in my bag, and I'm like, how am I going to do this without someone watching me? And I'm looking at them, and Christian's kind of giving me the eye, like, look, you got to put it up there. There's nothing you do. So sure enough, I took it out of the bag, hung it up, and just kind of stealthily walked away.
And no one
saw me. They wouldn't even pay attention to me. So it was perfect.
So then when we were done with everything and she had walked away, we finally told, the guys, of course, panicking. And we said, where could we make it appear? And we went through a little thing, and a clock, because it'd be like its older brother. And so we had everyone turn around, look at the clock, and of course it's just hanging there by itself with the watch clearly inside. And it was a great moment.
Oh, I
And
bet.
yeah, it was fantastic because it was, I mean, seemingly impossible. But the most fun was the fact that all the magicians they were really hurting. How? And they were coming up with theories of a giant rubber band and some sort of reel. Like, wow, that is, if only you knew there was a window in the back of the theater.
I don't even know if Timo has told his friends the truth yet.
Well,
Probably not.
Okay, it's been 20 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's been a long time.
Now, Catalina, you were really not part of the show at this point. You were just a
I was
stagehand.
really behind the scenes helping him and Timo and
Well, I would actually say she was probably, in many ways, a producer or a stage manager, because she went to almost every show that we went, and she would help us kind of do things. And many times she would give feedback like, "Yeah, that trick is not that. Don't do that one." And I'd be like, "Yes, we're going to do it." And Timo would say, "Yes, we're going to do it." And then the trick would fail. And then after a while, Timo would go, "Okay, whatever your wife says, that's what we're not doing it then. She says it's going to fail. We don't do it." So she had got to learn quite a bit by that point.
Now, what is this picture about?
oh boy.
I think I saw you do this act.
First, I have to say I loved this piece.
There's
I love this piece.
so
It's
much to
gone.
say.
It'll never come back. But this was one of my favorite things to do. I had so much fun with that.
Okay, so now you two have joined forces, and
Yeah.
and Timo's out of the picture. It's you've created it.
When I come back to the States,
Mhm.
I suddenly found I really loved working with somebody on stage. It created a whole different energy, and it was fun. And so I just told my wife, I said, "I think you're in the show now. You're in." And she got trained daily for how many months?
Actually, Mike, that picture you saw of him holding that light bulb, that was taken at a theater in Arizona. We were driving to the show, and he goes, I think you should be in the show. We had an hour drive to get there.
I trained you in that hour.
We stopped by a store to get me a pair of glasses that I should be wearing because and a coat and a medical lab coat.
Yeah.
Along the way, and then that was it. That was the very first show I did. I remember that.
That's right.
I'll never forget that.
No, because you were in shock.
Yes.
Did you? What kind of part did you have at that point? I mean,
Well, in that one, I knew I just needed to get her on stage to get used to being on. Now,
Uh-huh.
of course, being in the Army, she's used to yelling at people. I say,
No, you yell at people.
Well, I yell at people, but you still have to march troops or do things. So,
well, she was an officer too, right?
Right, it's different.
and so, just having her be on stage, and at that point, she really was more of an assistant for the first few shows, just so she could get used to being on the stage.
I know, because we picked him as a specimen, we said. That's why we were wearing the lab coats. And I had to take some sort of
measure
the guy's head to see if he'd be a good specimen for this or something like that.
Yeah, feel free to use that. But once she kind of got used to being on stage, then we start working on some other things. Now we have to fast forward. We're actually performing by the time this picture's taken. We had worked colleges for many years, and this is us going into the magic. Now we started showing up at magic conventions, and we were told, well, you know what, you should compete so people kind of know who you are. Well, what I learned is we have no idea how to make a competition piece, like no idea.
Yeah.
And so this was our concept of a competition piece, which was so over the top and convoluted that it would take you.
For a regular audience, it was really fun.
Right.
If you pick the right people.
Yes. Now,
that's a caveat.
I think for the magicians that were grading us or looking at us, for them it was a little bit too over the top. But for the lay audience, they really liked it. It was on a good journey, but we had to throw it out because.
So first we should say this piece was all about destiny. It was a husband and a wife or a couple, and it was supposed to be. We bring up 4 women, and one of them is the gentleman's spouse or significant other, and then he has to find her again amongst the group of 4 women. So in the end, they find each other again. It's true love. It's destiny.
It's like the carnival of love kind of thing going on. But what we found out is a lot of people don't love each other. That is more true than you know.
So we had the four ladies up there. They each got a teddy bear, and they were slowly eliminated because in the very beginning, the gentleman picked a colored teddy bear as well, and the goal was for his colored bear to match his wife's on stage. That was the goal.
But to get there, of course, they're going on a lot of, boxes get switched and moved and placed, and they all contain a teddy bear. I have a box, she has one. So there's 6 boxes of teddy bears that they're all different colors. And then at the very end, when you start revealing, you go, okay, the other 3 women are eliminated pretty quick. And then I make a joke and I say, well, sir, I have a box, maybe you and I. And so that's a fun little joke. And of course, we don't match. Now it's only Cat or his wife. And we had way too many times where the guy would go, oh, I hope I match Cat. Dude, we just spent 7 minutes making this the most romantic, finding true love moment, and you just threw it on the floor.
And when we would do this for corporate events, and you see the woman's face who's up there with me, and she is
mortified.
She's mortified. She's pissed.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, we're done.
And sometimes it'd be the woman at the, oh my God, no, I don't want to match. Somebody switch with me. We're like, what is the matter with you people? So what we learned.
So not to include that in your show anymore.
Yeah. Oh, it's gone.
Gone. So that would happen, in all honesty, that would happen 1 in 4 times. About every 4th time that would happen. And what we learned was, do not pick people who probably have kids at home because they're not happy. So you either have to get someone who just met, very young couple, or a couple that they're probably empty nesters now. Their kids are gone, in their 60s on, or.
But we didn't want to risk it.
No.
We didn't want to risk it anymore,
No.
So it's just gone.
Gone. Yeah, that was a very interesting study in human psychology.
Yes.
Now this is from the same piece, yes?
No,
because it looks like the same set.
This is the ending to our show. We don't do it anymore.
That's a long time ago.
This was a long time ago. This piece actually came with a poem about love. About love, yeah. And about being married.
So what we were doing is we were actually looking for, we want a standing ovation show. That was our thing back then. Okay, whatever it takes. And so we consulted with quite a few people, spent a lot of time studying, working, and we came up with the answer. And that was the answer. So it was this kind of ride and an emotional high. And it was a rose that I would give her, and then very much like the standard
snowstorm.
Mm-hmm. But now it's a rose storm, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, we did this rhyming poem back and forth about love.
And it's a lot. I mean, it was great. It was great.
It was fun.
It would give you a standing ovation. But then at the end, after so many years, we changed who we were on stage, and it no longer worked, and so everything changed, and we went a different direction.
Yeah, this is more magic-y than your current work. I think is just much.
Right.
You've kind of focused and landed on the mentalism more.
Well, and I would tell you, I don't. Although, so here's what I would tell you: magicians call us mentalists. Mentalists call us mental magicians, and we don't even care. So we'll throw magic in. We don't care. In fact, right now, our opening effect is really a magic trick. Married Money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, it's only about does what the piece, whatever we're doing, fit in the overall show, whatever it is that we're trying to, what our feel of the show is trying to create. Does it fit us as who we are trying to be on stage? And although we lean heavily towards psychology and mental stuff, I would throw in a magic trick, and as long as it fits the
characters and
we don't care.
Yeah,
because the audience doesn't care. There's no lay audience going, I don't think that was mentalism. That's a negative point right there. Now no one cares.
I add a little mentalism into my show periodically, and I had just come across an article just the other day about mentalists kind of frown on including magic in the show because it's a trick, and it sort of tells people that mentalism is really just magic tricks in essence. And
Yeah, here's what we'll tell you. What Dunninger said so many years ago is absolutely true. The 1/3 rule, which is 1/3 will believe, 1/3 it won't be sure, and 1/3 doesn't believe. And we have found that no matter what you do, even for us, if we put magic in, it doesn't matter. There's still going to, the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 rule still exists. And you can tweak it maybe a little depending on how deep you go down that rabbit hole of mentalism. But in the end, it's not important. I don't care if they believe we have powers.
It's how you're presenting it.
Right.
I mean, you can present mentalism crappy, just like you can present magic crappy, and they're both going to be crappy.
That's right.
So, and same thing with both of them can be very strong. You can have a great, magic piece, and people will love it just as much as a great mentalism.
Right. Is it fun for the audience? That's really all we care about. And if they think we have powers, okay, fine. We don't do any disclaimers or anything like that. We don't. I mean, if you watch her show, I don't know that a normal person would think, oh, yeah, they have powers. Although people will think that. I mean, because Kat does do some pretty great stuff, but I don't know. I don't think anybody's thinking, oh, they're trying to show us or prove to us powers. We don't care. All I want them to do is go, oh, we're going to tell our friends about this
because it was a really fun show, and we want other people to come and see it.
Yeah, that's all we care.
And that's a wonderful part of your show is, to me, is the relationship you guys have on stage and the fun that you make in the show. When I watch you perform, it's half the time you're laughing, and then the other half you're scratching your head. It's just a fun show, and sometimes mentalism by itself can.
Well, mentalism can be very procedural, and by the time you get, you're like, okay, we're going to get to this. So that is a problem, but it does help to have two people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you guys play off each other so wonderfully. Right. It's just it almost appears, and I should ask you this. It seems like. There's just so much ad lib in your show, and it's just so immediate at the moment. It's that it would be hard for me to believe, but it probably is scripted. I would imagine, because you do the show over and over again.
90% scripted, and it feels.
How much percent is it? 100%? Did you say?
No, 90%.
Okay.
And then occasionally we'll go off on a left field or something.
But yes, okay. So our stuff is probably 9% scripted. His interaction with the audience is natural. So if someone will say something about, I think his strength is his ability to interact with the audience immediately on a moment's notice. So he's quick to get back to whatever the audience is doing, and then
come right back to script.
Yeah, come back to script, or sometimes we'll get off script if you say something and I'll say something back. So yes, but for the most part. Everything is scripted.
Every now and then I'll come up with something where I think, I have this really funny thing. I'm going to try it tonight and see if I can make her laugh. But and that makes the show fun for
for you too. Sure.
You got to do a little bit of different things. So, but for the most part, I would say, but I think in the script, one of the things that's key that a lot of people miss is we don't, I talk, you talk, I talk, you talk, because now it seems scripted.
Right.
So we have to learn to run into each other with our words. And that's what creates what people think is this
natural
spontaneity
flow versus the scripted piece.
Yeah. So it's just not pause. All right, your line.
Right.
Yeah. I think I was watching or looking at a television show about one of the directors or producers had to incorporate that because it wasn't the way television programs were being done. It was this one would speak, then that one would speak, and then this one, and then it was like innovation for him to have people talking on top of each other. I think he got a little carried away though, because I couldn't follow the script sometimes.
You don't want to drown each other out, but you do have to have the naturalness of what a natural conversation is like, which is one of us will run into the other's line.
Oh, you'll start to speak before the other one's finished.
Right.
Yeah.
Like punchlines, of course, we make sure we isolate them so that they hit. But to build up to that, we can kind of bump into each other.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, wow. You guys really have done a lot of thinking about your work. That's clear.
I would like to think that, but it's a lot of trial and error. And oh, that didn't work. Let's do something else. So you learn by sucking. Really, that's what it is.
And trying to remember, oh, that was a great part of the show. Can I remember that by the time the show's over? You got to almost say it over and over in your mind. Remember this for the end of the show. And sometimes you remember, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
So,
do you wind up?
Try to tape as many shows as you can for those moments when the audience gives you a great line or something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's good with two of you. You can go back and you can. Do you remember, or which is
no, both of us will forget.
that is true. We will both forget.
Yeah, you would think, oh yeah, it's got to help. No, we both forget because we're both like, oh my god, what was that one line? Do you remember?
No.
Or maybe it's a line I came up with, or even she would come up with sometimes. Like, oh my god, that was so cool. I like what you said. Oh, what did I say? What'd you say? It was a whole new line. And she didn't remember. And I'm like, oh, it was great. Whatever it was.
Now, what is this? Now, I see different backdrops. And did you change the name of your show over time?
No, this was a Mind Tree show. We're going to show you. This is one of our older backdrops, and this was when we were starting out at the Hilton. This is what we had, and so we had that green in the background, and then you can see we had the side green curtains. Mind tripping. Actually, it says Christian and Katalina, and then the bottom of that says the trip is the experience. That was kind of our thing then, because we didn't have
we hadn't yet figured out who we were. Yeah,
in a feel. So I think if you see the set now, you'll see, okay, this is what we finally did. We love this.
At this time, we were, so in the earlier pictures you saw of us, we were still doing what I call the parade of trick show, which is just, all right, here's a trick, here's a trick, here's a trick.
Yeah, it sounds like my show.
Well, everyone starts out there. I mean, that's how we all have to start, because figuring out who you are on stage is probably going to be the most difficult thing that you'll do in your career. And so when we started, we were just like, okay, well, we're just going to do tricks until we figure it out. Then that green backdrop was our first real attempt at trying to, who are we and who do we want to be on stage? And we were going for a more mysterious kind of fun, maybe a little bit Addams Family-ish kind of thing. And
I think the backdrop, we tried the mysterious. If you see, there's it's got some little lightning bolts, and then kind of the numbers float in there. Very time and spacey. But yeah, you can see there's really no consistent, you don't see anything consistent in our clothes.
No.
You can't see the whole stage, but you'd see, so even our prop tables, there's no consistency there at all. You don't know in the beginning. You do your best and you try and put it together. And
yeah.
Well, what comes across clearly is that you guys have fun on stage, because even though you had a mysterious show, or the attempt there was the humor was there.
I would have mentalists who would tell me, Christian, you got to stop with all the comedy, because if you're mental, blah blah blah. I'm like, I cannot hear you over the sound of the cash register, so I'm just really.
And being this close to the audience, it's hard. COVID is hard, because the people love the interaction, and they like the intimacy of being close to people. They like the connection, and as much as we think our show is good now, it's that human element is just you can't capture that with the COVID show and social distance.
Unfortunately not. No.
So we'll get back to that one day, we hope.
Yeah. Now this is your current show.
Current show, yeah. So now we figured out who we were, and really, I'll tell you, it's not going to be you. And when I say that, I mean us or whoever. When you figure out who you are, it's normally a bunch of epiphanies that come together, and friends just telling you, why are you doing this? You should just do that. And this is what we like, and here's the stronger thing. And what people were telling us was, just tell us about you, and just, be you, and talk about your Army experiences, and tell us that. And then Katalina kind of really went down the rabbit hole with the mid-century mod look. And we both really liked it. And I don't know what got you going on that direction.
I don't even remember that either.
I don't know, but she went that way. And then we had some friends who found us a really good graphic artist who could, put what we were saying into a visual. And then we just kept going from there, creating more and more of that look.
So this is the social distance COVID. And you'll see the backdrop is what we started with, that mid-century theme, and we love it. And then we've added the elements of like the TV, the mind tripping show blue. I love the little TV. So these are our prop tables now, and they really blend with the set. It looks like a set. It looks like a mid-century set.
And the two big blue tables you see there, that's where the audience comes up to interact. So we'll put props on that table for them to handle or whatever. And the TV is one funny thing is early on when we had came up with this whole idea of the mid-century mod, the Jetsons look, a lot of people call it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was the Jetsons when I saw it. I said, "Oh my gosh, reminds me of the Jetsons."
And Katalina said, "I want a television. I think that'd be a great prop," and I agreed with her. And we would look at televisions. I would tell her, "Well, this is really gonna be difficult." And
I would have loved to gutted an original television and use the back as a prop table. That would have been fantastic.
You know, very much like comedy. Improv, you don't want to say no. You know, you try to, when you're working together as a team, you don't want to just go no. But I was resistant because I said, well, look, these TVs are very heavy. They're very difficult to kind of to figure out. I mean, I didn't want to say no because I liked her idea, but I just could not figure out using a television how to do that. And then,
So actually, those two pieces are very recent. Pier 1 went out of business last year during the pandemic. And so they had everything on sale. And so he just goes in there and he finds these tables. And at first he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they're great. They roll well. They've got...
they were like display tables for their product. And so I'm walking around the shop or the store pushing because I'm like, man, these roll so beautiful. They're so great. And I'm sure people are looking at me like, what is the matter with that guy just walking around rolling? And then there's all different heights. So I would pull them over and then I would kind of pretend like I'm doing the show to see what heights would work. And I'm sure they're even more like, he probably needs help. There's somebody we should call. And I ended up buying some, and I brought them home. And Catalina's looking at them and she's like, what'd you get those for? I said, I don't know yet, but these are great tables, maybe for the show. I don't know. I just got to figure it out. And then that's when Katalina came in and out of her office there like 2 or 3 times. And then she goes, that little one, that's my television. And then she made it happen.
Yeah, got with the graphic artist who we love her. And we're like, I need you to make me a TV. And so I showed her the picture of the table and this is what we need it wrapped. And she goes, okay, I got it. I'm on it. And she loves the project she does for us.
Well, I think it's 10 times better than if it was a real television because it's just, it has that same kind of cartoon appearance, which makes it fit right into the backdrop that you have. And it's just so perfect.
Mm-hmm. Which we couldn't get with a real TV.
No, you couldn't. Yeah.
So it worked out great. And those have been fantastic as prop tables. They're just great because in the back we have the shelves to work off of and they just look pretty. Now, do they break down? No. But they do kind of act like big ATA cases, so they do.
But there's something funny. I'll go. The table with the bookshelf that she made. If you could zoom in, you can look at it later. There are actually the books on the bookshelf say Tarbell.
Oh yeah.
I think they say Animan, and I think the other one is Protoplasm.
Yeah, our book,
so I think that we had her add those in there.
Yeah,
and that would only be for magicians.
Yeah, if you're a magician, you would laugh at that. A lay audience won't get it.
No.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we have to have those little inside jokes just to make ourselves smile, right? Now, is this going backwards in time? I think it is, yeah?
This is going back?
A little backwards in time now, yes. So we were hired by a liquor company, and they were trying to push a new rum called Black Magic.
So this was the product launch here in Indianapolis. And they said, do the show and launch the product. We said, all right, let's do it. I mean, it was super fun.
It was fun. So we had to work with their design team, and they kind of wanted us to be pirates. And I'm like, I don't know if that's quite where we want to go, but we did dress a little piratey, and
we had to produce the rum bottle.
Yeah, all kind of fun stuff. Unfortunately, although the rum was very good,
I like the rum.
they just couldn't get it off the ground, so it ended up dying.
But we did get rum. It was in the contract that we would get bottles of rum.
Yes, we did get bottles of rum in that contract.
Okay, well, that's good. That was good. Whoops. And Shadowland. Now that's again
Yeah.
another background. It looks like we're going back in time again here.
No, this is
Well,
current.
This is
Um,
current. Okay.
it's a ghost show that we developed when we were working in college. So we worked at College Market for about 10 years. And in that 10 years, we experimented with a lot of different things. And one of them was pieces about ghosts. And if you think people believe in mind reading, their belief in ghosts is off the chart. So once we developed a whole show around just ghosts, Catalina got on this, and really she was the one behind that whole backdrop. Now, part of that backdrop is actually
the pictures of the cemetery right behind our house. So that is actually by one of the grave sites, that statue.
Oh, okay.
but,
That's a
but we
stone.
need to be clear.
Yeah.
It's a over
Well, it's
100.
an old, it's an
It's
old
a 150-year-old cemetery.
Yeah.
But it was perfect. It had great, in fact, all the pictures
Yeah.
up there from that cemetery. And it's been a great show. It's been a fantastic show.
The last time we did it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
COVID.
Mhm.
But I would tell you, it's probably the most technical and most demanding show that we do because there's so much that has to go on. It's a difficult show.
And ghost shows are to me difficult because we're comedic and he's very funny, and that ghosts and funny don't necessarily always go together. So finding that right balance of the comedy versus the scariness is not easy. It's a tough show.
Oh, I could see that being a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
Are you going to do it now with Halloween coming? Do you plan to?
No, because it requires too much. We can't change that one. That one is one where people have to come up on stage. They have to
close proximity to us. So with COVID, we're not going to.
Because you want to see the person jump. You want to see the person like, oh my God, and that kind. And you can't do that if they're far away. But yeah, it's a show we look forward to doing again. But whew, that is a tough. I'll tell you. Here's an interesting thing about that is we have one piece in there about the Titanic, and we tie it into Indianapolis because a lot of the pieces in the show, since we do it here in Indianapolis, we refer back to haunted spaces in Indianapolis. And in the Titanic, there's some people who are on the Titanic from Indianapolis. And I will tell you, the Titanic is just a topic that people are so interested in, and they really gravitate towards that. And you can make it kind of creepy, weird, without going too far down the rabbit hole.
Because there's mysteries associated with the Titanic, and people love that.
So many. That I will tell you, here's the funny part now. When you're done, and after the show, we'll have people come up and go, so you mean the Titanic really happened? That's real?
Oh, God.
Yes. There's quite a few of those people, and you have to go, yes, it's not just a movie. It was a real thing.
Yeah.
Now, this is I get mind tripping, one of the early backgrounds.
One of the early backgrounds, and we're still working with clothing.
This is going back. This is
that kid.
The kid.
That's the kid.
This is pre the other green backdrop. So this is way far back. And the reason we put this in there is because we don't perform for kids. So we were at a resort. We were there for what? How long? 4 weeks maybe? And they had asked us to do a late show. And we said, sure, no problem. No kids in the late show. Okay, great. Well, you find out the resorts, no, the kids stay up late. So even if it's an 11:30 show, the kids are going to be there.
And they want us to be a little blue, a little, push the limits a little bit. And we said, sure, we can do that. Kind of a nightclub, show. And then I don't know how many kids were there, but a lot. And so now the staff of the hotel is in there too, and they're like panicking because I guess they think as performers we can't change. We're like, nope, we're cussing right off the bat. No work. And so the joke I made was, the posters were playing that this was going to be a late night kind of nightclub show with some language maybe, and yet you still shut up with your kids. So I need you all to take out your Bibles and turn to page. And so once they they saw that we were not going to go blue, they were able to laugh and have a good time. Now the story with the kid that you see on that stage is very interesting.
He is cute kid. He was super fun, super fun. But he, in the very beginning of the show, he raises his hand, and most people don't raise their hands in our show.
I asked a kid, I go, okay, do you have to go to the bathroom? What are you going to do? And he goes, no, I have a question. I'm like, okay, we normally don't take questions during this part of the show, but you're very polite, so go ahead, kid. What do you got? And the kid goes, well, I'm just curious, what do you do if something goes wrong in your show? I said, oh, that's a good question. Well, if anything goes wrong in the show, we just kill the audience. Everybody was like, what? I said, no, you have to understand, we can't let people know that we have a bad show. So you have to kill everyone in the audience for that show so that no one tells anyone else it was a bad show. Because, you would tell your friends it was a bad show, they wouldn't come. He goes, okay, thank you. That's it. So we move on with the show. And so Catalina, we're doing Second Sight in the show, and someone had held up some lipstick. And I asked Catalina, hey, what's that? And she said, chapstick. And I said, oh, you're close, baby. That's not what it is. And out of nowhere, the kid goes, well, I guess we're going to die.
It was perfect. He was great.
I will tell you, the laughter went on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was very long. And the parents came up after the show like, oh, we're so sorry that he did that. And I'm like, dude, I want to hire this kid. I want him in every show.
And I love this picture because I always think, oh, mentalism. That's what I have to get into. It's so light. I have to carry all these props with me. Well, I guess that's not the case.
I'm looking at everything.
This was during a time when we had a different business model, which was we would go to resorts where they would hire us. We would live in the resort and perform at the resort for their clientele. And it was a great business model, and we traveled a lot and did a lot of resorts. And it was great to live in the resort because you're living in some really outstanding resorts.
I bet.
But you're still not home. I mean, that's always a bummer. Mm-hmm. But I took this picture going, people will not believe how much crap you have to haul if you want a really good show. Now, some people tell me, oh, I just show up, with my briefcase and do a show. Yeah. And I'm, if you can do that, that's great.
Yeah, God bless you.
We've learned when you create a sense of grandeur, when you have this, when people walk in your room, they go, oh, this is a show. This is special. You have a different feel. And in fact, I would tell you, even looking there, most of that stuff isn't even the show. It's the sound system, backdrops, extra curtains, just all that kind of, and people will even ask me about, well, why don't you just use the sound at the resort or wherever you were? Even some of the high-end resorts, their sound systems
it's crappy.
Are not great. And we would run into problems. And so I don't want to go somewhere and then my show isn't good because your sound sucks. Yeah. Because guess who they blame? The performer.
They blame you. They blame you. Yeah. And sound is so important. I mean, if you can't be heard, it's just you're a terrible show.
It's just critical. It is.
You know what? And I'll tell you a funny story. We have a ventriloquist friend. And we have some friends who, they refuse. I will only bring maybe my mic. That's it. I'm like, okay. Well, our ventriloquist friend, he shows up and they said, what do you need? He goes, well, obviously I'm going to need a mic or whatever. And they said, okay. When he gets there, they gave him a megaphone.
They did give, I remember that.
A megaphone. Do you know how ventriloquism works at all?
And what is this?
This is, I think that might have been, this was our last tour to Africa.
Oh, wow.
Africa. Military tour. This was in Africa. Yep.
Is this Djibouti?
Yep, I think that's Djibouti. Yep.
So tell them about the military tour.
That was me taking the picture. I just thought it was a really fun place to be. And the troops were having a great time, so I got a picture of them.
Now this isn't while you were in the service. This is
this is
like a USO show type kind of
this was like
thing.
2 years ago, but our last tour was like 2 years ago. Yep. We try and go, once a year at least, just to go back and have some fun with the troops because that's our background. That's our history. So So yeah, we love it, and they're grateful, and they have a great time.
Now, I do want to point out something, as we always would tell people, bring those chairs as close to stage as you can. And people will ask us, how close? And I said, where the person in the front row can put their feet on the stage. That's how close I want them. And they're always like, no, he can't really mean that. Yes, no, we do. Because what we see right there in that picture is what Kathleen and I call the moat of death. And it's where all the jokes and laughter fall into and die. Because it's hard to bridge that gap. That's why you see me at the very edge of the stage.
His toes are off the stage. He's so far close. I mean, so close to the audience. Yeah.
And now visually, of course, you think, oh, that looks great. That's a great, for how the audience should. No, I want them right up there because the first person that laughs is like, it's like a fire. It catches. And that's a difficult, but people don't understand. Like they just think he doesn't mean that close. I think he didn't mean that. No.
Yeah.
And then you walk in, you're like, no, you didn't know. I'm closer.
But it's the same thing with speakers. So sometimes you have to educate the event planners that for a speaker, that mode is horrible too. Yeah. The speaker needs to connect with the audience as soon as possible. So bring them close.
Sure. And if I've been to events where, they think they could put the dance floor between you and the audience. It's like,
love the dance floor. What's great about the dance floor is then you're performing for the 4 tables on that side, and then you have the rest of the audience either to your left or right.
Oh, yeah. We've been there. It's not a comfortable place to be.
No.
Now, you guys go to 4F, and as do I, and there's a couple of pictures that we've taken of you at the 4F. And you performed there, but you also did something which I think is really fun, which was like a TED Talk. And I guess it was about your tours.
Mm-hmm.
We did our TED Talk on performing for the troops.
Yeah.
But running the TED Talks is really fun. People have a lot of interesting things they're involved with that they want to contribute, and it's fantastic to hear the people like Maria has that in Bolivia. That was fascinating to learn about.
It was.
And then,
I think Boris talked about
Boris
doing a FISM act. Yeah, developing a FISM act.
I remember the his name escapes me. Picking locks and all that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He killed that year.
I didn't realize you organized that. You picked the presenters.
So, here's what happened on that, which you probably don't know is, as you know, with 4F, there's just not enough shows. So for anyone who doesn't understand that joke, it is nonstop shows.
Yeah.
And even when you have some of the best close-up people in the world coming, there's a certain point where your brain begins to just liquefy. And Kathleen and I said, hey, how about if we take our show, the show that we MC, and we turn into something different? So it's not shows where we're just doing another trick, but TED Talks where people are going to talk about something very specific with magic. And Obi was not sure. Oh, I don't know, Christian. That's no. People just want to see tricks. No. I really think we can take a break for a little bit and be educated. And it probably took us all. I mean, every time we saw Obi, we reminded him. I call him on the phone. We talked about it. Finally, he gave in. He goes, "We'll try it. We'll just try it." And that first year,
well, we try it. So he said, "Okay, you can do it." But then, what does he do?
Yeah.
At the end, he adds two FISM level performers.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they died because people were disappointed they weren't doing teaching.
Right.
And that's when Obi went, oh no, yeah, this really was more popular than I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, yes, we just need a break, Obi. That's all. It's not because I'm super brilliant. It's just because we need a break. You could have just had circus dogs dancing. We would have been fine. We just need a break. So now, because of course, then it became a big thing because people really enjoyed it, and then finding people and the other challenge is teaching people that you only have 10 minutes, and people, just like we're in high school and you start out with a paper that's too broad in subject, we tell them, you think that's a no, you tighten. So it's a lot of also working with the people who are going to present to get if someone says, well, I want to talk about, let's just say, I'm trying to think of something, linking rings. Oh, that's too broad. That's way too broad. You might want to talk about one specific kind of link. What? Yeah, just one. How do you do that one link? Wow. And then they'll find out, in 10 minutes, you can end up talking quite a bit about one link. And now I get more out of it, right? I'm not, because the idea is so that you sitting there feel like, wow, I learned something. Even if I never do it, it was fun to learn it.
Yeah, and the 10 minutes is nice actually too, because it moves along. It just seems like it's just about the right length for it. You get 3 or 4 presentations in the time, and it's great. And they're very good presentations too. I mean, people have slides and videos and some great stuff to share with people. Now you also you get quite a bit of press. This was I guess the local station promotes your show pretty heavily. I guess
it's a new show that started in the afternoons. The morning shows have been around for a little while, but this one started. How long has it been? A few years.
Yeah.
And so Randall is the one that goes out into the community and tells everybody what's going on. So they contacted us and said, hey, you want Randall to come by? I said, sure, bring Randall by. He'll be fun. It's super fun.
Well, when you're running your own show, I think you better learn how to market. And you have to it's a never ending grind of making sure you get your name out, making sure, looking at whatever new things come up and then getting your name in there. And I think for a lot of people who say, oh, I want to do what you and Kat are doing. And I'm like, maybe you don't, because it's in their mind. All they see is I'm going to be in front of an audience performing. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. You have to, those seats, you're responsible for filling every one of those seats. No one else is. You are now the promoter, the producer, the marketing guy. You're all of that. And then it goes back to what Katalina always says,
which is have a show first. Make sure you have a solid show, because you won't have time to work on your show. You're going to be working on business. At that point, it's getting butts and seats.
I say the first couple of years, we did not work on our show at all. It was a show that we already had. And now I won't say that we didn't swap out some pieces to try to make the show better, but I'm saying it's not like, oh, I'm just going to work on my show. No, you are like every day going, oh, we need to check. Did they make a mistake when they put because that's another problem is, when you are just trying to mass market, how many times people make mistakes, and your show's at 7, but they said 8. Oh no, now I have to go back, and getting that to change sometimes is brutal. Or just, what we learned about the internet and creating websites and tracking everything and Google Analytics. And before long, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm a marketer who occasionally
it does magic. Yeah. Sometimes I go on stage. Now, you're at the Hilton now. Is that right? The
That's
Hilton
correct.
in Indianapolis. Were you always there for the show that you have now?
12 years now.
Yeah, 12 years.
12 years. Okay. Wow. That's quite a long run. Now, when does the show run? Every night, Fridays, Saturdays, once a week, once a month?
Yep, Fridays and Saturdays. Oh, sorry, that was me. Friday and Saturday nights. Right now they're at 8 p.m. Sometimes we do change the time, but for the most part, Friday and Saturday nights. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, I tell people, if you were in a vacation place, let's say, where you have a lot more people coming to for vacation, like
and the turnover, like you have new people every week, every few days.
Then you could do a show probably almost every night of the week if you wanted. Like Rick Wilcox up in Wisconsin Dells, he's in a vacation mecca. Mm-hmm. So they're able to do shows almost every night during the season, of course. For us, we'll do every Friday night, every single week of the year. I'm not every, because obviously we take time off, but we're not, there's no high season for us as there would be, let's say, at a Myrtle Beach or Virginia Beach.
Or Clearwater, Florida.
Something like that. It's ours is more of a, I don't know what to call it, just a show. It's just a show that runs forever. But it's not tied to a vacation time. That's what I mean.
Now, is the room that you use also used on the other nights by the hotel? Do you
No,
just
well, okay, so we're going to talk pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, no, that was our room, and it was our room forever. So we were in that room.
so you could leave your
Like,
set
you don't
up
break it
pretty
down,
much?
right?
You don't have to
That's your
break down the
always.
set? Okay.
But now with
And-
COVID, because we're in bigger rooms, we do have to break down and move sometimes to a different room because the small room doesn't allow us to social distance.
Yeah, right now no one wants to be close to each other. Not yet. They're not ready. So we need bigger space to keep everybody safe.
So
Is
we're working
everybody?
hard.
I think you mentioned it before. Everybody masked during the show in the audience, unless they're dining or
Eating or
something.
drinking.
Yeah. Okay.
No
And
eating, drinking.
Oh, drinking.
and you guys do all of the ticket sales and all the rest
We
of
handle
the
everything.
business end of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I think there's another picture here from now. This is during COVID because you guys
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
masked at this point,
This
and
was
you.
just this was in the summer, July.
Yeah.
I think he came out in July.
Well,
Yeah.
we just opened the show again to try.
Yeah. Well,
Not
okay.
this summer. It was last summer.
No, honey, this summer. This
You
was
sure this was this summer?
positive. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
COVID makes time
No,
very
this was
bizarre.
this summer. This was right here.
She said so. I am wrong more than, you know, I'm right.
And I did not realize this, but you guys had a big spread in in the MUM magazine.
Oh yeah,
a
Bruce
few
did
years
that.
back. Yeah,
Bruce
Calvert.
Calvert wrote the
He
article.
wrote that
Yeah.
story, and it was a great story.
Holy cow! Look at the date on that, February 2013. Well, wait.
20.
Oh, it's right there.
2013.
Oh,
So
look
we
at
were
that.
doing the show at the Hilton for about 3 years at that point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, well, that is the last slide that I have to share with the audience. I just so much enjoyed chatting with you guys, and I can't wait to see you. I hope we're going to be able to get to see you in April this year.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Think about it, that's only about 6 months if you think about it.
I know.
Right?
Hopefully, fingers crossed,
Yeah,
we'll be able to do that this year. We missed 2 now. And I don't get to Indianapolis. It's not one of the places I frequent.
Not on your paths
But
anywhere.
if I ever get to Indianapolis, I'm going to make sure it's on a Friday or
Wow.
a Saturday
You don't know
night.
what you're missing. No.
Hey,
I
you
do
know-
like it. I mean, there is some great things about Indianapolis. Believe it or not, it's the cost of living here is very affordable, so that makes life great.
Indianapolis is a great city. I
Yeah.
think. Well, of course, COVID has hit a lot of cities hard, so it'll take a while for the downtown to bounce back. But it'll come back. It'll come back.
Well, but before we go, the name of my show is Trick or Treat. So I'm hoping that you have a trick or a treat to deliver to me.
Okay,
What's
we
it gonna
can
be?
actually do both if you wish.
Oh, okay. I'll take you up on that.
Okay,
I'm going to give you the screen. There we
I
go.
know what the trick is.
I'll let you choose the treat, baby, of all of our stories.
Oh,
Yeah, so you can think about that while I talk about the trick.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so the trick is it's a variation off of Eddie Fechter's "That's It," and I really liked that trick. It resonated with me, and I just had to find a way to make it mine so that it fit with how I wanted to present it. And so we're going to use a deck of cards for this.
Do you want me to be the spectator?
No, I don't think we need to do the whole spectator.
You sure? I think you do.
Do you really think?
Yeah.
I don't. It'll come off kind of fakey though, because they know you're not really.
Well, but they know who's going to be watching this.
All right, so.
Okay, I'll just be the spectator. Just do
All
what
right,
you
all
got to
right,
do.
look, okay, let me turn here.
Okay.
Are we still on camera? Okay. You're a little out. Just
That's okay.
come. Okay.
There you go.
All right. Look. People always talk about gamblers and how they can read tells or whatever. And so I'm going to try that with this deck of cards. And
Okay.
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 10 cards. I'm going to deal them out. And I'm dealing them here to the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's all we need. These 10. And we'll just mix it. You can even give them a little mix if you want, like that. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And then just pull one out. Just pull
Okay.
one
The
out.
cards are just so you know, the
wait,
cards
here
are
we
out
go.
of frame. Okay.
Up
Yeah.
here, pull them out. Yep. And then she can show it, and I'll look away.
Okay.
And then place it right back in.
Okay.
Great, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay,
There.
perfect. All right, and then what I would have that's not in this is I would normally give it to a different person to give them to mix it. I'll let Catalina mix it,
Okay.
and I'll explain later why I give it to a different person.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and figure out your card by just you looking at the cards. And so I'm going to divide them up into two groups.
Two poker hands.
Two poker hands. So I have 5 cards in his hand, 5 in his hand. You look at both groups of cards, and then when you're done, look at me. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is great. See, now I'm going to tell you. Here's what she did. She looked over here, then she looked over here, then she looked over here, and she paused, and then she thought, I better look over here one more time. And she hesitated wanting to go back here because her card is in this group. So I can throw these down knowing her card. Is that right? Your card is in this group?
It is.
Of course it is, because I'm not wrong, because I know how people react. Now, it's down these 5. Now I want to change the game up a little bit. Mm-hmm. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the cards over. I got to turn it a little bit. And then you'll just say, that's my card. Whether it's your card or not, you're going to say, that's my card.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go.
That is my card.
Interesting. Okay. All right. And let's mix them up again. All right. Because you know what? I felt something there. All right, let's do it again.
That's my card.
I don't know. Now you're just playing with me. Okay. I don't think that's your card. I'm going to throw that one away.
That's my card.
No, I don't know. No. Here we go again.
That's my card.
Okay. Let me. Nope. I'm going to try. I'm going to change the cards around again. Let me try this one.
That is my card.
That is it? Okay, good. All right. No, I don't believe you. All right, that leaves me 2 cards left. Let's try one more. How about this one?
That's my card.
No, I don't. Okay, I think I got your card right here. I don't even know if they saw that. That's such a weird angle. What was your card?
The 9 of spades.
Oh, I threw that. Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I kept it. That's it. Okay, that was terrible. Can you edit this?
Just explain.
All right.
Fine.
You know what? I'm just going to explain it.
Yeah.
I suddenly realized this was really a weird trick to do for the. This is why we're not doing any video.
We don't do any Zoom stuff.
No Zoom shows for us for this very reason. All right. So I will.
Does that help?
Here, I'm going to explain the trick. Then it'll make fun.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's a good one.
So you do take. So first of all, the key to the whole trick is, which you would have never known from that performance, was you must have one-way backs.
One-way backs.
Now I'm using a regular bicycle deck, and how I'm doing it is because I'm going to pull this in very close to the camera. If you can see, maybe not one edge of this bicycle card is a little bit thicker than the other.
Right.
And sometimes it'll be at the end. Sometimes now, Mike, I know you already know this, and most people who've been in Magic for a while know that bicycle, about every 4th deck is off printed somehow. The borders will be big, and it creates a one-way deck because you can go through and now arrange the cards all the same way and make sure you have it. But today, you don't even need to do that anymore because
Christian Shank.
His
Phoenix deck.
The Phoenix deck is automatically
one way. Yep.
And of course, you can buy one-way backs left and right. But way back, Mike, when you and I were younger, one-way back deck was like, whew, there's a lot of money. Now they're just giving them away. But what you'll do then is pull 5 out. So the way the backs are all the same way. The person picks it, and of course do everything where they get to shuffle them in case they think you've memorized somehow the way that you've dealt them out. Shuffle your deck, whatever you want to do to create fairness.
But show them how to shuffle like you did.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then what will happen is I will turn away. They'll show the card, and she can show in this case, it doesn't matter. But when I turn away, what I'm doing is I'm turning my deck around. So it was this way. I'm just turning it around. And then I have her put the card on top. Now, it's very important. I don't think I said this during the presentation, but it's important that she puts it on top. And the reason is because I got to verify that she did put it, that she didn't turn her card around. Every now and then that'll happen. Someone will turn their card around, and if you tell them to put it in the deck, well, trick's over.
Lost. Yeah.
So if I haven't put it on top and they actually turned it around, I can do one more. Everyone look. And then when I put it back, I would just spin it around.
Gotcha.
So now that I know it's safe, I will now take this and show somebody else. What I want you to do is just shuffle the deck like this, and I show them how to shuffle. And the reason I'm doing it is because I've learned over the years, I've now made this a very challenging thing. I'm going to figure out which card they picked through body language or whatever I'm telling them. And now they feel challenged and they'll do crazy every now and then, not always, just once in a while. They'll do crazy. They'll turn the cards or they'll drop them or who knows what. So I don't want that. So I give it to somebody who has no skin in the game, and then they just shuffle them. And that's very fair. That seems fair. Everybody's happy. Now I spread them into 2 groups of 5, like 2 poker hands. And I do what I told Catalina to do, which is look at the cards. When you're done, look at me. Now, what's fantastic about this is no matter how they look at a card, no matter what you just tell them what they did. And then you say, that's how I know. So if they look twice at the cards that don't have their card, and then once at the hand that does, you can say, "Oh, you look twice here, and then once here, and that's why I know it's here." Or if it was the other way, it doesn't matter. You look twice at the one with your and once, and that's why I know. And people will freak out. They'll be, "How do you know? Oh my God, that's what I did. I did that." Yes, that's literally I just said what you did. Then I assign meaning to it, and it's a crime that it is so strong. So now once that's done, I don't even know what the card was, doesn't matter. Once that's done, we're going to say in this instance, the King of Hearts is their card. And I'm going to turn it face up so you can see what I'm going to do. So now, looking at the backs of the cards, I know where their card is, obviously. And I need to now, for the next thing that I'm going to do, get it to the second to the bottom. I need it to be here. And I'll explain why in a minute. And to do that, when I first tried this, I was doing all kind of little fancy maneuvers. And then one day I said, why am I doing it? Nobody cares. Nobody knows what's going on. So I literally, no matter where their card is, I just cut it. So if it's here, I just take a card. I take 3 cards and put it on top. Or if it's in the middle, then you just say, okay, so I don't know which one of these it is, and move it to the side. That's all you do. While you're talking, you just move whatever cards, put it on top, so it's now second to the bottom. And the reason I will tell you in a moment. So you'll go through the cards, you'll turn over, and every card I turn over, you'll say, that's it. Boom, that's it. And then whatever you say, little funny stuff, whatever, you throw it to the table. Then the next one, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're starting to get into acting now. So no, I don't think so. And then you turn it back over and throw it away. Now we're in a position, here's their card. It's the second one. So I'm going to do a double lift. Now I tell people, if you're afraid of a double lift, this is the easiest double lift in your life because it's 3 cards. So this is a great place to practice a double lift. So you're just going to push off 2 cards. You're just going to push them off with your thumb. And then you're going to make sure they're lined up with these 2 fingers, and you're going to turn it over. Remember, I have it reversed.
Right.
So let's do it. I'll do it this way now. So you're just going to push it over. Boom. Now that's their card. Remember, it's a double. And you're going to say, oh, okay, whatever. I don't believe you or something. And then you're going to turn it over again. And then they think you just tossed the King of Hearts down. You have 1 card left, or 2 cards left. And so you're going to flick them like this. So that the bottom card is now on top. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. No one's paying attention. Don't worry about it. Turn over that card. Discard it when they say whatever they say. And then you'll go, great. I think by the process of elimination, I have your card. And of course, I will tell you most of the time they're going to go, now there's 2 types of people. The one person who's happy that you messed up. Ha, ha, ha. No, you threw it away. And the other person is like, oh, you messed up. You threw it away. Either way, it's great. It's like, oh, what was your card? Oh, it's the King of Hearts. Really? And then it's always fun to act like you meant, oh. And you look at a pile like, oh. But that's why I have this one. And then, of course, they will always dive for this pile. They'll turn over the cards looking for it. And that's it. That's the trick. So now, Mike, if you could just kindly edit out on the actual presentation in the beginning, that was horrible. And it was because I was trying to figure out how to.
Yeah, it's all right.
Whatever. But I hopefully, was that clear? Do you think?
Oh, it's crystal clear. Yeah,
okay, great.
It's a great little trick.
Okay.
It's really fun. People will love that one. It's really fun.
I should scoot over.
Oh,
okay.
Or me, yeah. There you go.
Yes. Okay. So that's it. So that's the trick.
That's the trick. And you have a treat for me too, huh?
What were you asking me?
No, the treat is a story, right?
Or poem or something.
We're not doing a poem. Wait, what is this poem? No. Do you know a poem? We don't know poems.
We're not poets.
You have to do a story, one of our stories.
Now,
Well-
did I hear you say you have a book out?
Yes, yeah.
Well, tell me about your book. I don't know anything
So
about it.
we have two things out. One is our book called Protoplasm, which is actually that trick is in the book, and it's just a book of close-up mentalism. So mentalism tricks that you can do right here, close up at the table, if you're working a restaurant or something. And there's a couple in there that you could actually also use on a platform stage. And then we also have a lecture at Penguin Magic, which covers a lot of stuff in our book and then some extra stuff as well.
And where would you get the book if you wanted to purchase the book? Do you have it on your website, or do you have to go to a magic dealer?
Where would they get it?
That is a good question.
That is a good
You know
question,
what?
Mike.
I thought you guys were marketing geniuses.
Well, no. I mean,
it's not on the website because it has nothing to do with the show.
Yeah.
So we definitely.
But you know what? We need to get that back out. So
they can contact us. They can email
yeah,
us.
if they
How's
really
that?
want one, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they can call me. We'll take care of it.
Yeah. So we used to push it out a lot. But, I mean, a book has its kind of, lifespan.
Life cycle, sure.
I mean, we sold probably, 3,000 or 4,000 of them. And then, we figured, okay, we're done now. But every now and then someone will say, oh, I would like to get your book. And I'm like, oh, I don't know where to get it anymore.
We can.
But we have some copies we can send out. But I probably need to, at least send 20 to some Stevens Magic or something so they would have it. So we can say, go to Stevens.
The Magic Warehouse in Baltimore.
Used to carry. I don't think they have
Denny's
more
used to
copies.
carry it. Hey, yeah.
Yeah, many people, whatever.
Okay, so we'll just tell them to get in touch with you.
There you
Right.
go.
Or you can go to Penguin Magic and get our lecture there.
Okay. Well, that would be the place to get the lecture. Okay. So, well, that trick qualifies as a treat, but you have another treat for me, you say?
Well, I like to put cat under pressure. So I just what's one of the stories that you like?
Oh,
You
gosh,
can tell.
there's so many stories we could
Yeah,
tell.
many stories, but you got to tell what one.
Oh, which story?
Yeah.
Probably my corporate story with the.
Oh, mother of God. Young people always think, I want to be a magician and work these big corporate gigs and be amazing. And you're like, you don't understand how often everything is a struggle. Like those gigs with your name and lights and everything, those are the rare ones. So this gig was a hotel had hired us to.
It was a client appreciation event.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, set it up, baby.
So they're very excited to have us. We're going to do a 30-minute show. I'm like, okay, standard 30-minute show, perfect. We'd have a stage. They were, doing this for their clients. So they were going to have a little like hors d'oeuvres and some cocktails, not a formal sit-down dinner,
Right.
but they would have a little cocktail table spread throughout the room and a stage for us. And the GM was going to say some words. Obviously, these are his clients, so he's thankful.
So on the scale of 1 to 10 on fancy, I mean, it was probably like a 7. I mean, they really pulled out a lot of the stops trying to make this really cool. And we said, look, we need to make sure we get a stage because you want us to, really kill them and have fun. And so give us a good, okay, no problem.
So we usually arrive early before everything starts. So we got there, and what do we see first?
Well,
that's the question.
There's the stage, but the band is on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, okay, is this for the band? And the band's like, no, they said you're on here too.
So you ask for a 12 by 16, and what do you get? A 4 by 8.
Yeah.
You're like, okay,
Yeah.
well.
And the band's on it. And the band was like, we're sorry, dude. We made a little area for you. And we're like, oh. So Kat and I were like, okay, what tricks do we have to cut or change that aren't going to fit on this stage? And so we're working on that.
Okay. And then the venue starts setting up the food and everything. And they move a carving table right in front of the stage.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, this is just temporary, right? They're
No.
probably just setting this for a second. They'll move it in a minute.
No, it's literally
The
where
one
you.
that has the meat that has its own light so that they can carve their roast beef. Okay, right in front of the stage.
Even the band is looking at us like, what the hell? Like, we don't even. Who does that? And so,
Okay, and then.
but then they wheel in what could only be described as one of the largest ice sculptures I've ever seen. Right in the middle of the room where the audience would go. It's just this massive ice sculpture. And we're like, why is that right there in the middle of the room? Well, it looks beautiful. That's for the audience. Well, of course, they'd have to see over the meat carving station. And then.
So then, the guests start coming in, okay? And then we're just like, all right, how are we going to adapt? We got to figure out what we're going to do because this does not look like it's going to work.
And there's no, like, chairs, really.
No, they have to stand behind the cocktail tables to eat their hors d'oeuvres and drink their cocktails.
And everything's going on. It's now clearly the band and us are just, if anything, you would think, are they trying to hide that? Like, I hope nobody sees them.
If they even see us.
Right.
Okay. But I mean, the clients are having fun. They're eating, they're drinking. Then it's the GM's turn to speak, and he's supposed to come up to the stage.
He's
and
opening
speak.
up the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's excited because we have entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So the band plays a little walk-on music for him. Bum, bum, bum. The GM gets up there, starts talking, and within 5 minutes he realizes no one even knows where he's at. People are in the room going, where's that coming from? Some guy is talking. Is it just on the intercom system? And he is he's like, no, I'm here. I'm over. And he's trying to look around the meat carving station. And maybe 4 people finally, I think he's that guy. Is it that guy? And then he realizes this is a disaster. And he hands the mic to us and he says, good luck. And he walks off.
He's like, it's pointless. No one's paying attention.
So we start. We do one trick. And I tell Catalina, wrap it up, we're done. And she goes, no, we're supposed to do 30. I'm like, well, I ain't going to be on this stage because the only people we're performing for is the band. The band is the only one who sees us. Because you would see somebody come up to, we're in the middle of the show. Somebody comes up to the carving station. I would like a piece of the ribeye, please. And they're just like, and then they look up over and they're like, oh, look, I think it's a show. So we just end it. And we end up, because we always have some close-up with us, we grabbed some close-up, and we just walked around. We did close-up in the room.
And we actually stayed for the entire event.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, the lady who hired us, she's kind of serving. She's kind of just looking at everything. She goes, I don't think we put you guys in the right spot. I mean, it was perfect. We bust out laughing. We said, yeah, that was not ideal.
Yeah, that was
so
fun.
if she got it, hey, that was worth it then because the next person will,
But what was also good is when we were walking around, and we actually talk about this in the book Protoplasm, is when we walked around and we were just having fun and we would talk with people, oh, what do you guys do? So they thought, we don't know. They just thought we were some other people. And then suddenly we're like, all right, we're going to show you something. And then, oh, wow, you guys do magic? Okay. And we're having fun. And she got some of the best reviews back to her, like, oh, we really had fun. Whoever was walking around doing magic was great. Because we weren't trying to make a big deal about it. Just engage people, find out who they are, ask them their name, don't beat them over the head with magic, just have fun. And then suddenly, what's great is when you just talk to me, oh, that's very interesting what you do. Hey, can we show you what we do? Oh, what is it? Oh, we do magic. Well, that is cool. Now we've made a friend before we just walk up and shove cards in their face. But I will tell you, we worked with that woman for many, many years because, we just didn't panic. You just adapt.
Yeah.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Well, that takes a special kind of talent. Let me tell you, not to just frazzle, try and push through.
Well, we've already done that. We did that in the past.
Yeah, that's true. We have done that. Everybody's done it. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I got a trick and a treat, and I tell you, the biggest treat of all was spending time with you. So
it was great to see you again too, and we're looking forward to hanging out with you. If 4F, maybe we can get to the bar and have a drink.
I'm down for that.
This is a great concept you came up with, Mike. How fun! I mean,
Yeah,
getting
I've had a
people
blast.
about their lives and
Yeah,
yeah,
this was my COVID project basically. Since we didn't have a whole lot of other shows to do, we got to do this, and we've had a great time talking to a whole host of people who were in the same boat that weren't working. So
great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun.
You know, it reminds me. One of the things we did when we were back when we were doing the shows at 4F, where we would bring the people out for the magic,
hmm
is, and you know this from 4F. If you're a 4F, yes, we already know you're good. We already know you've won 1,000 awards. Whatever. Nobody cares.
nobody
Nobody
cares.
cares. Yes, I got third at the Ring 57 for close. Nobody cares. And so, what actually I think it was more Catalina's idea is we started asking them, "What's your hobbies? What's your hobbies? And do you do this full time, or do you have a real job? You know, do you have some other job? I see a real job. Do you have some other job that is not magic?" And you would start learning fascinating things about people, and that became much more interesting than hearing about,
All the awards they won.
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody
Sure.
cares. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, really? You know, you're a world class skier, or I forget what some of the other things were, but it becomes much more interesting. And we would have some people fight. No, you need to talk about how I want. Nobody cares, dude. No, but trust, nobody in that room cares that you want anything.
I think that's correct. I think that's true. I think that's absolutely true. That is a fun convention, and I look forward to April again. Let me thank you one more time and say good night.
Awesome.
Well, thank you as
Mike.
well. We look forward to seeing you in the near future, and good night to you as well.
Good night.
Okay. So there you go. An interview with two wonderful people, Christian and Katalina. I hope you enjoyed that. They're great fun. If you want to know more about them, you can go to their website, mindtrippingshow.com. And you know, there's a contact button there. And if you contact Catalina, she'll tell you how to get a copy of their book, Protoplasm. It sounded interesting. I think I'm going to get one. That sounds like a fun book with lots of fun tricks. And if you're in Indianapolis, well, I hope if it's a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I think it's Friday or Saturday for sure, that they have their show. You should check that out. I know it's a great show and you will enjoy it. So before we say goodbye, we do have to do one more bit of business.
Fact or fake news, fact or fake news, fact or fake news.
Okay, so are all these things that mentalists do? Do they do hypnosis, telepathy, clairvoyance, divination, precognition, psychokinesis, mediumship, mind control, memory feats, deduction, and rapid mathematics? Are those the things that are considered mentalism? Well, let's find out.
Hello there, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's a fact. It's a fact here in California, it's a fact in New York, and places like this. It's a fact.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Arnold, for clarifying that for us. It is a fact. And hey, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, I hope you will. I want to tell you about our next show, which is coming up later on this month. We're going to have Rocco, the one and only Rocco. And if you know Rocco, if you've seen Rocco perform, you know that this is going to be an interesting interview. So come back in about 2 weeks. I think it's the 16th. I'm not sure, October 16th or 19th, one of those two. It'll be a Tuesday, 7 o'clock, and hopefully we'll live stream the show, and you will be able to you'll be able to interact with Rocco. I'm sure he's going to want to hear from you. So that's in a couple of weeks, and in the meantime, until then, well, have some fun making magic.